Hello and welcome to our channel. Today we're going to dive into a fascinating topic that has left many music fans wondering. What would music stars who died at the age of 27 look like today? 27 is a significant age in the music industry as we have lost some of the greatest talents to premature deaths. These artists left an everlasting impact on the music industry, but one cannot help but imagine what they would have looked like or what their music would have sounded like if they were still with us today. Firstly, let's talk about the iconic singer, songwriter, and guitarist Jimi Hendrix. Hendrix was known for his wild and hypnotic performances and his masterful guitar playing. Unfortunately, he passed away on September 18, 1970, due to asphyxia from choking on his vomit after consuming barbiturates. If Jimi Hendrix was alive today, he would be 78 years old. It is safe to assume that his fashion sense and style would have evolved as he aged. We can imagine that he would still have his signature afro, but perhaps it would be gray streaked. His wardrobe might display a more mature yet eccentric look. He was known for wearing loud colors and patterns, so we can only imagine the ball patterns he would have had donned in his later years. As for his music, those of us old enough to recall Hendrix's performances can only imagine the kind of innovative sounds he would have created. With the advancement in technology, we could only anticipate the kind of musical wizardry he would have incorporated in his work. Next up is Janice Joplin, a talented and legendary singer whose music and voice is still loved and celebrated today. Janice had a unique voice that would resonate with you after listening. Unfortunately, Janice passed on October 4, 1970, of an overdose of heroin commonly known as ultimate unconsciousness. Had Janice survived, she would have been 78 years old today. She might have traded in her signature flashy clothes and brightly colored scarves for a more understated look in her later years, but no doubt she would still have that big, beautiful smile. The gravel in her voice and the rawness in her tone is something quite special, and we can only imagine how she would age musically. Perhaps we might have seen her delve into jazz or blues more prominently. We have the internationally recognized Kurt Cobain, the lead singer and guitarist of the legendary band Nirvana. Nirvana's music was exemplary of the grunge movement and is still celebrated to date. Unfortunately, Kurt Cobain passed away on April 5, 1994, due to a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Cobain had struggled with addiction, mental health issues, and had become increasingly disillusioned in the music industry. Today, Kurt Cobain would have been 54 years old. In his later years, Cobain might have traded in his trademark grunge look for something a little bit less edgy and a little more sophisticated, but his scruffy, unshaven look reflected his signature style. One can only imagine the versatility and experimentation that would have characterized his music had he continued creating songs. As he was known to be outspoken and politically charged, it's safe to say that we might have heard more of his political views and opinions through his music. His legacy would have continued to influence and inspire many new artists. Club 27 is a journalistic expression referring to musicians, mostly of rock background, who all passed away at the age of 27. This project was created by artist Gil Finkelstein with the support of artificial intelligence and shows what these musicians would look like today if they had not passed away when they were still young. From Kurt Cobain to Jim Morrison, what are the stars who have died at the age of 27 would look like? Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse's voice was unmistakable, but unfortunately, Amy Winehouse was also famous for her serious addiction problems and eating disorders, which she also often talked about in her songs. Amy was found dead in bed at her home in London. The death was due to a so-called stop and go, an excessive intake of alcohol after a long period of abstinence.